Good morning. Today we are continuing working with our areas. We are on PO69. I can calculate, oh, we're not doing area on this one, but we are working with shapes. So this one is I can calculate the circumference of a circle. Anybody know what circumference means? Not area around, but the length, the distance going around the circle. If it was the square or the rectangle or the triangle or the trapezoid, what would we call that distance around it? Adeline? The perimeter. Circumference is the perimeter of a circle. Okay, so it's the going around it. It's different because it doesn't have straight sides that we can just add up the numbers. Okay, so it's not the same as those other shapes, so it's not called a perimeter because we're not adding up the numbers on the outside because it's not straight lines. So we call it a circumference. It means the distance going around. So the distance around a circle. We can't call it the perimeter because no straight lines. We have to use a formula to find it. So a circle is the set of all points that are the same distance that's the radius from a fixed point, the center, so the radius is from the center to the outside. Center to the outside is the radius. The diameter is distance across the circle. And we call that 2R. Radius is the R, going from the middle to the outside. The diameter is 2R, because when we go from the middle to the outside, if we want the diameter, we need to add on that other side. So it's two radiuses together makes our diameter. So radius is the R, center to the outside. Diameter is two radiuses, 2 times that R, that goes straight across. Now to find the circumference of a circle, so circumference is the C, we say 2 times pi times the R if we're given the radius. So if you're given a radius, you use 2 pi R. If you're given the diameter, we would just say pi times the diameter. So depending if you're given the radius or you're given the diameter, which formula you're going to use. You're given the radius, 2 pi r. You're given the diameter, you just do pi times that diameter length, because 2r equals the diameter. Does that make sense? Show me your thumbs. Are we following? Anybody not quite sure? Okay, let's look at how we use that. As we use it, it will make more sense too. It says, so what's the deal with pi anyway? Basically, it's a special ratio that helps that relates the diameter of a circle to its circumference. Any circle, no matter its size, will have a circumference of approximately 3.14 times the length of its diameter. So pi is that 3.14. There are many decimal places after it. It goes on for infinity. Some people learn to go out as far as they can. There's lovely little songs out there to help you learn all of the decimal places of pi. To be honest, I just know 3.14. I have not challenged myself to learn farther out. I just know it's 3.14. I know, shocker. I have had years where people have put it out to the class as a challenge to see how far, the farthest somebody can go out without looking, the farthest somebody memorizes. It's up to you if you guys want to challenge each other for that or not. I know Emma's super excited because she knows the song, don't you? That song, I've had kids learn the song and it helps you remember all those decimal places. But that will be for another time. For today, we are working on just finding the circumference of our circles. So pi on the calculator, we've used that button on our calculator. We know what it looks like on the calculator. So if you use the pi button on the calculator, you'll get a slightly different answer than if you use 3.14. Because there's all those decimal places and the rounding, it gets slightly different. So on my answer key, I have it both ways. If you want to use 3.14 times your diameter or times 2 times the radius, you can, or you can use the button, the pi button, and multiply it by the correct number. Important to note is it says when we're finding that circumference, we need to round our answer to the nearest hundredth. If you do not round correctly, it will be wrong. So if it's 2.14 and you put 2.15, it will be marked wrong. You must round correctly. So let's do a quick review of our rounding rules. If we have 2.178, how would I round that to my hundredth place? Adeline. That's our hundredth place, yeah.
And then the number next to it on the right, if it's bigger than, if it's 5 and over, then go up 1, and if it's 4 and under, then it's 6.
Absolutely correct. So the hundredth place is that second decimal place. You have to look to the thousandth place. Decide, is that thousandth number 5 or more? Then I round my hundredth up 1. If it's 4 or less, it stays the same. So what would 2.178 round to for my hundredth place? Emma?
2.18.
So the ones place stays the same, our 10th place stays the same, everything that was to the left stays the same. Our 100th place is what rounds up. Sometimes we get a number like this. How would I round that to my 100th place? Bennett?
It would be 2.2.
How did you get that, Bennett?
Because if
Bennett said it would be 2.2.
because if the 9,
The 100th place?
if the 100th place is a 9 and it's accompanied by a 9, then it's a 10. But then the 0, it would be a 0, so it would be 2.2.
So what Bennett's saying is this 9 is going to round up to a 10. But we can't put 2 digits into one decimal place. So we have to carry over to the next spot. So we could look at that as a 19. The 19 is going to round up to a 20. So you could do 2.20 because our 19 rounds up to 20, or you could drop that 0 and say 2.2. Okay. But you have to remember, every year I have friends that go, okay, 2.1, and then 9 rounds to a 10, and all of a sudden they have 2.110. Oops. We forgot, 9 is not going to round all the way down to a 1. Right? 9 rounds to that 0, that 10. So we don't want to make that 9 into a 10 and write it that way. We want to carry that tens place over, so it rounds up. 19 will round up to 20. Right? Be careful with that with rounding. Let's do a couple of these together. Make sure we're understanding. Look at A. What equation am I going to write on my paper? Because remember, we don't just plug numbers into our calculator and write an answer. We show our work. What am I going to write on my paper? Bennett.
5 times 5.
So remember, we have two equations. If we're given the radius, we do 2 pi r. If we're given the diameter, we do pi times d. What am I given for A? The radius or the diameter? Emma? The radius, because it's only halfway. So if I'm given the radius, I must use this formula. Don't forget that 2 there. Okay? On B, it goes from end to end. Is that the radius or the diameter? Liam?
Diameter.
That's the diameter. So I'm going to use the formula that has the diameter. Okay. If I do 2 times pi times r, what do I get for my answer? So you write down what your equation is, and then you can use your calculator. What do you get when you do 2 times pi times r? Everybody is doing it. Aiden, what'd you get? You did 2 times pi times r? What'd you get? Let me see what you're putting in. Now times what's the r? So you forgot to put the 2 in front of it. So now it equals what? Say it again. 31.4. Remembering to go out to that 100th place. What did you have in the 100th place, Aiden? 31.4 what? And what comes after the 1? Yes, so that 5 in the thousandth place tells us to do what with our 100th place? Yeah, so 31.415 turns into 31.41. So we have to remember to go out to that 100th place and round it. Let's look at B. B, we're given our diameter, so we're using pi times d. So what is pi times 12? Lila. 37 point what?
5 divided by it, so it's 37.6.
So when you put pi times 12 into your calculator, what decimals did you have it? So go back, so you press the pi button, now times, but what's our number? Okay, yep. So you got 37. Why was mine turning out differently? Was I looking at the wrong one?
That's what mine is.
I was looking at the wrong answer. Sorry. Okay, so what decimals did you get, Lila? 37 point what?
69.
And what's the thousandths place? So this is one of those occasions that I was talking about. That thousands place tells us we're gonna round our 9 up. That 9 rounds up to a 10. I can't put 2 digits into one decimal place. So I have to carry it over, and I get 37.70 or 37.7. That makes sense? James?
I got 31.42.
We talked about that, and I said it, I just wrote it wrong. So thank you for catching that. 31.415 rounded to 31.42. That was my mistake when I wrote it. How are we feeling about this? It's not just knowing which equation to use, it's also remembering how to round. So using the correct formula, multiplying it correctly, making sure you are rounding correctly. Let's scroll up and see what's at the bottom of our page. It's just that. So no reviews, just finding circumferences. Making sure we are writing our equation down, then writing the answer. If you are watching at home, I hope you are well, and I hope to see you soon. Do not forget that Khan Academy is due tonight. Math Packet 11 is due on Tuesday. I do have some here to correct. I'm going to try to get those corrected right now. If you're watching at home, I hope to see you soon. Have a good day.